Hello,
Hello.
hello. Let me tell you something. This is Tamika with Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices, and I have, I think
Mm,
one. We only got one person with me today.
Yeah, yeah.
Who are
She
you?
always rolling.
Who is that?
Latoya.
Latoya
Um, Lewandowski. Yeah.
Lewandowski. She got a new name now.
Yeah.
Uh, hello, all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a hectic day today. I'm gonna be honest. I got here exactly 1 minute ago. My internet was down.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it rained all week, so you would think it was acting up a little bit, but why act up so much today?
And then we have on the what do you call those? The board. Who is that on the board there?
Well, it's your boy. It's your boy Jermaine Right Out. What's going on?
Okay,
What's
I
up,
wish
Jermaine?
y'all
Mm-hmm.
should come on the camera. I mean, go on Facebook and 860 WNOV
Uh-huh.
and see his new
Listen here.
hairs.
Listen, I had to go Billy D. Williams on him.
Oh,
I
you
know
did.
that's right.
Yeah, toxic, love and pride is toxic in the garden of love. That's what I got from Billy D. But nah, I had to tap into my Beijing. Beijing. And yeah, because you know, having the gray had me looking like Jaheim.
So I need to get rid of
Oh
this.
no, no, no. See,
Yeah.
see, yours is good. It's just something about this angle over here
Oh, okay.
had me looking like Jaheim.
Yeah.
I said, "Oh no, we got to do something about that." Oh no.
we
I'm down with you.
we have we're gonna start back with our partners and on Monday. But we have a special guest. I'm announcing this. So we have a special guest coming on the 9th. Our special guest is none other than Tim Schindler,
Yes,
our other
yes.
co-executive director. He will be filling in for us on Tuesday. Him and we y'all make him please welcome him, make him feel welcome and at home. He is the co-executive director of Wisconsin Voices. He does the finance part of it, and he gets us the money, and he does the development. So we want to wish him, give him some love.
Love. Wish him love.
I was looking at my Facebook page today. I was looking at we got to talk about the elections because we haven't been on since Tuesday, but I want to talk a little bit about the elections. But I was looking at my Facebook page, and you know how Facebook has those things where it comes up in your memories. And I opened it up today, and the first memory that came up is Glendale Alderperson, District 1, Tamika Vukovic, 70%, Bob Whitaker, 30%. That is the best thing. That's the first election I won to become alderwoman. So I'm all excited. That was 7 years ago. I'm going into my 8th year. I am so happy to represent the people of District 1 in Glendale and the city of Glendale. And then Milwaukee's my home, so you can never forget where you came from or where your home is. So that's why I work in those communities so heavily. Elections. I pulled up the elections results, and the total turnout was 34.6%.
Mm.
Now, 34.6%. When we have approximately 484,691 registered voters. That's the total amount in Milwaukee County that is registered to vote. Oh, somebody trying to give me a hug because he late. He late.
I knew she was gonna say.
Wait a minute.
Not on the radio.
Wait, no. We got cameras here. Everybody can see you.
He creeped right in.
Brian
too.
came in and then tried to
When
give
I
me
seen him, that's when not laugh. I said, I know she finna say
And then
it.
Brian gonna try to give me that side hug. Hey, it's that hey auntie
Right,
hug.
right.
Yeah.
We've been working already though, so we good. We was
Yes,
already
we
up
did.
working.
We worked it this morning already. We did.
We did.
But out of the 484,691 people who are registered to vote, 165,073 voted. Now let that sink in. We got 484,000 people that are registered, can go there, can vote, to cast their vote, and only 165,000 people voted. So when y'all say y'all vote don't matter, let's process that, because what we just did, what happens if that 300,000 people all had a like mind and wanted to change the way things looked, depending on what your district, but I'm just talking in general, they could have made an impact.
Yeah.
The impact could have been huge.
The young adult and youth turnout wasn't that big. I talked to so many people
Yeah.
this past weekend. I know people who went out of town and was asked me when we was running around like, oh, we was supposed to vote. Oh, I forgot to vote. I forgot to turn in my absentee ballot. That's the things that I was hearing. And this is people that's in their 30s, like mid 30s, and that's not being responsible for that. And I want to stress the importance so much, but I want to let me go back to it. It's so important, y'all, really, to get out there. And you talk about all the things that's going on and how these things are not going your way or this in your neighborhood, but then you're not using any percentage of the rights that you have. You're not deciding to go to the polls. So I just had to say that. It was just shocking how many people was like, oh, I forgot to vote, or I didn't do my absentee ballot, or whatever the case may be.
We got a
That's what's
caller.
up.
Let's see, caller, go ahead.
Push it up, Carl.
Caller, go ahead.
There we are. Good morning, Mr. Mika. Good morning, dear. Am I coming through?
Yes,
You
you
coming
are.
through?
Yeah.
Good morning, Miss Latoya. Good morning, Mr. Mika.
Good morning.
Well, you enjoy your vacation, and be sure you do come back to us joyful, full of
Oh, we ain't
energy.
going on vacation. We going to a training so we can learn some more
Okay,
how to
okay.
get
I
this
stand
vote out.
corrected.
This is
Okay,
work.
okay. Well. I didn't want to suck all you out the show, but speaking of the ballot, I was listening to Brother Kwaku. He laid out a whole list of things that we could do for ourselves to find ourselves in a better place. And I just wanted to add to that, we can't allow ourselves to be stagnant. As I love me some Cogses, Beth, Priscilla, and many others. Of course, Isaac and Marcia preceding, but Spencer, he's running unopposed there, but you have to get him in there so we can find out what his how he's working with the comptrollers and all that there. And even if he gets voted in, come say thank you, man. Don't be, at least come say thank you that getting another term. They don't even do that. So, but anyway, yeah, we can't be stagnant. And yeah, you get voted back in. At least, you didn't come, prior to the election. At least come and say, well, thank you. I've got another term, and let us know what you're going to do to work with the comptrollers and everything, so we can see what we can do better with our monies, and if there is a surplus, what we can do with the surpluses, audits, and all that other good stuff there. So, but anyway, have a good one. Yeah, check with the people, man. Thank you. Be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that comment. That is really true. That now that people have got either put back in office or won their district or seat, um, connect with the people, because most people that came on this show that was candidates that was running for office talked about the people, the people, the people. Now, if you won, then you should be setting up a meeting with the people in your district.
The other thing is that we are we will, as a series, try to bring elected officials back in to see what they've accomplished in a certain amount of time, to actually thank the people who came in. To be fair, we didn't our show did not invite anybody who was unopposed, for the simple fact, we wanted to make sure we had enough room for the people who had contested races. But we will be, over the next couple of months, especially in the local arena, being asking people, are asking the electeds to come in, talk to us about what they're doing, making sure that we try to hit every district or aldermanic district that's in Milwaukee, and inviting them to come in and just, you know, talk to us. And hopefully we can keep going and keep this moving and not leave anybody out that's an elected official.
Mhm.
So that is the something that we're doing. So getting back to these results, I do. Let's talk about some of the winners and of the election. Well, it's interesting to me that in Milwaukee County, 71% voted Democrat, 28% voted Republican. This is not something that I think or know. This is just the unofficial election results. When it came, there was a Democratic primary for president, and 84% chose to vote for Joe Biden. 2%, 2.4% chose to uh, vote for Dean Phillips. But let's talk about this uninstructed delegation.
Mhm.
It's 12.18%, which is 13,266 people. Um, Over the course of Wisconsin, this was just in Milwaukee County, and I didn't get to look at the results of the other elections. I mean, for the statewide, how many people voted that way? But that's a difference between winning or losing in an election. Uh, like in 2016, I think Mr. Trump won by less than 20,000 votes.
Mhm.
Those people make a difference one way or the other. So I
Oh,
think either party needs to pay attention to what they're saying, at least, and trying to understand what they're saying. There's a difference when, for
yeah,
me,
they
there's
had
a
a
difference.
protest.
Yeah, it's a difference when you're doing protest votes.
Mhm.
We have to figure out what are they protesting, and why are they protesting, and what is it that we could possibly change or help them understand, or whatever the situation is, because like it or not, this is the way our system is working.
I can tell you what they was protesting for, but that's a long story. We're
Yeah.
not getting into that because if I get into that, then I'm gonna get into some whole other stuff that y'all should be protesting for. But
So let's go
they just
down.
unrestricted. They sent out a email on both behalf, Democrat and Republicans, that if they didn't agree with things that way they were going in this country, then vote unrestricted. Yeah.
So in the Republican side of the primary, Donald Trump got 73% of the vote in Milwaukee County. I think the next closest was Nikki Haley with 16%. Then there was some, I think next was Ron DeSantis. So
Mhm.
those were the top three. Then we go into the judge races, and there
Let's
was,
talk about that for a second, though, because a lot of those people voted for them. They're not even in the race anymore.
yeah,
So you got to think about where's those votes going.
it's I really truly believe that I hate when people jump out of races, because and I saw this a lot in previous races, and this is just me talking to Mika Vukovic. Um the democracy is here is to have choices,
Hmm.
and whether I like the choices or love the choices, people have choices, and that's where the democracy comes in. Um I'm People wanted to vote for Chris Christie, they could vote for Chris Christie. He's technically on the Wisconsin ballot, and I think they should be, whoever is on the ballot, they've done
Hmm.
their due diligence to get on the ballot.
Valid.
People should be allowed to. I do not like when people get out races just because. Now they may not be in the race again, but they've made it on the ballot, so that is what I feel. That's just my
Yeah, so we got
opinion.
to add up all those numbers too to see um, versus
Well,
who those parties getting out to vote. It's
yeah,
gonna be very, very. I'm saying that for November, so people need to pay attention and really get out there and vote, and don't say your voice ain't heard and you don't want somebody in office because you're basically voting for them if you don't vote.
right. Um, most of the other races for judge was contested except for Branch 43, and that was a close vote. It was Rochelle Johnson Bent, who was on our show. She got 48% of the vote, and the Marissa Bel Cabrera has 50.99% of the vote. So Marissa Bel Cabrera will be the new circuit court judge in Branch 43. Thank both of them for coming onto the show to let people know who they are and what they
Mhm.
stand for, and who, just giving us a little glimpse of who they are, because I think judges and people don't really watch judge races, but think about the power that a judge has. They are the only elected official that can literally take your freedom away from you.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, literally, they're the only judges that can actually take, they are the people that can take your freedom away.
Yes.
And you want to make sure that those people are responsible, the ones that are, they're catering to the community, they're following the letter of the law and interpreting in a compassionate, but also holding up what the law is and what the law stands for and what the statutes say. So that is so important, and we kind of dismiss out of
Yeah, because I
oh,
was finna say, I see where you going with that, Mika, and you really true. I was finna say, we had too many uncontested judge races. I mean, I was marking down. I was standing there marking for just marking because my mom taught me to always vote for, mark in
you're right.
just in case. So I'm like, God, it was a good 13.
7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
So there was 13
I
judge
counted.
races. 13 judge races and only
Come on, Tay.
one was
Come on.
contested. Now we know we have some lawyers out there. We have some people who have been in the DA's office. There might be some. There's some African American judge or lawyers. There's some Latino, Asian. There are so many different groups and good lawyers. Why don't we help uplift them if we think they would be a good judge?
Right.
It doesn't always have to, we're not pushing anybody in or out. We're just saying make sure that the judges that you have represent you
Represent you.
and
Man.
represent and are fair and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
But we allow all the 13 out of
Yeah.
13 seats, only one was contested. Now, some of these judges that were on this could be, amazing judges, and that's why they're not contested. But do you really know? Have we ever done any looking and seeing to see, wait a minute, is this judge good? There are criteria that you can look at to see how many times do people, they're recused, or they don't, or the lawyers don't even want them on their cases or anything like that.
The way they vote.
The way their sentencing are, we can look and see, are there disparities within their sentencings between black and brown Latino people? There are studies that have been done, but we don't really look at all that because we have, but maybe this is one of the things that we can do, is try to look into stats of judges and put that out there for the people. Let's keep going because this is a little bit more, and I know but this is so important. We sat here from basically from the time we got on the show to the end of the, until election day, hounding and pounding, get out the vote. But we need to talk about the results now. With the county exec race, there was David Crawley took 84.52% of the vote. Aisha Griffin took 14.9% of the vote. Um, That's a handed, a very big margin, but there's still 14% of that vote that did not vote. So if I were him, I'd be like, wait a minute, why? Let me see
From that
what these
14%.
people
Yeah.
are talking about. I mean, it's just, it has to be an awareness.
Hmm.
I always look when I'm on the ballot. The last couple of times I've been unopposed, but I always look in those write-ins. How many write-ins do I have? Because even if it's like 10, there's 10, 15 write-ins because I have a smaller district. But what am I missing from them that they actually wrote a write-in?
Hmm.
And I mean, you don't have to. Sometimes it's just plain, I don't want to vote for anybody on the system. I get it. But for me as an elected, I wish I knew what those write-ins needed, what they wanted. Sometimes and be honest, sometimes I'm like, I can't help you. I'm not, that's never going to change because that's not the way it works. At least they know that I listen to them. The comptroller, Liz Sumner and Michael Harper were on the ballot, and Liz took the election by 65% of the vote. Both of them were on the show, so I say thank you. And then there was a lot of, now let's talk about these non-contested races for county supervisor. I'm going to count out loud. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 out of 18 were not are uncontested races. And that could be because their supervisors are amazing. But again, each of them had some write-ins. Um, you know, there are. Let's find out who those write-ins are. Why? I mean, and it's a smaller margin, but there still is a population of people that you know need to be heard because you have to make decisions for the majority, but you're the representative of all.
Right.
Let's go to the contested races. District 3, Sheldon Wasserman won by 57% of the vote against Alexander Costo. And then there it was a contested race in District 4. And if I butcher these names, please forgive me. But Ron Jansen was defeated by Jack Ekbald, 54% of the vote to Jack. Then we go down to District 9. Patty Logsden won her election with 51% of the vote. And let's go down. And I think I think there's two more. Carolyn Gomez Tom took her election by 61.5% of the vote. And last but not least, it was County Supervisor District 18. That was Deanna Alexander and Brandon Wilford. And they both were on the show, so thank you. Deanna Alexander took it by 55.79% of the vote. Um, Again, I will keep saying if you love your supervisor and they're doing great, so be it. It's good to not have, you don't always have to have contested races, but because you might like the direction of everything and what they're doing, but just be aware of why you like them, not just because they're in office.
Hold them accountable.
Hold them accountable. Um, City Mayor Cavalier Johnson handedly beat David King, 80% of the vote to 18% of the vote. Congratulations, Mayor Cavalier.
You need to listen to the people too.
And I uh, I found I was actually kind of excited on these next two because there has been a push to actually elevate and make sure people know what the city attorney and the city comptroller do. And I usually it's a whole bunch of people vote for the first couple of people and then they'll drop. and then they'll skip the whole rest of the ballot and then go to the next, high profile. But there was a good turnout for city administrator. Evan Goki won that seat from Tierman Spencer. It was 63% of the vote. And then Bill Christensen, who was also on our show, won the comptroller by 63% of the vote. We're going to take a break. 414-444-5250. And we're going to talk a little bit more about the elections. And then I need some opinion, some help, helping me with the role that I have. Be right back with Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Be a voice.
Be a voice. He put a little Did y'all hear that? Jermaine put a little remix in our theme music.
Oh man, call me DJ Manny Main over here, man.
Oh no! Wait, is it on the ones and twos?
on the radio dial. That's what
Oh, it's
on the
radio
radio
dial,
dial.
okay.
Yeah. Ones and twos is L Boogie.
Oh, okay. All right, we have a caller. Caller, go ahead. Welcome to Be a Voice.
Well, thank you ever so much for answering my call. And my call is a concern about it's about Lincoln Park, and it might not be a good time to ask this question, but could you please tell me how can I find out why the gate is locked in Lincoln Park? There's two gates. There's a gate on the west end and there's a gate on the east end. The gate on the west end is always locked year round. Why is that gate locked?
You mean by the parking lot to go into the parking
Yes.
lot?
Yes.
That may be a good question. Who is the I'm trying to think of
I
who
don't. I have no.
I know it's county. I'm trying to think of who the county supervisor is. That Willie Willie Johnson?
No. I think it's Sheldon Wasserman.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he go. Does he go? I don't think no. I don't think that for Lincoln Park because I live close by there, and I know where. I don't think. I think that's Johnson. Lincoln,
Okay.
I don't think he goes. Well, and it could be, so, but I don't think he goes that far in. It's Willie Johnson because parts of my Glendale district has Willie, and
Okay.
Wasserman is on the east side of Willie, so Willie Johnson. But what we can do is we can try to answer that question, and get an answer. Why is Lincoln Park the parking lot closed so you can't even go in there to park or be in the park? Is that what you're asking?
Okay. Well, you can't go in. Uh, if you're going east, you can't go into the gate. You can't go into the gate going east. You would have to go all the way east and then go into the gate.
Oh,
Okay.
right, but let's ask that question. I mean, all we can do is ask the questions. They might have a perfectly legitimate reason for having that gate locked, or they may not. Nobody ever asked the question.
So thank you.
So we'll see if we can get that question answered. Um,
I
Yeah, that's my old neighborhood park, and that gate to me seemed like it's always locked up until around a certain time of year. I thought it was always trying to control traffic, or the people that kind of sit in that lot. Maybe it's a way for the police to not have to worry about anybody running on them if they catch somebody in the park chilling and hanging out somewhere that they're not supposed to. But yeah, that's definitely a question. But for
but
years it's been like that though.
but
It's
that's a public park,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
it
it's
should
supposed to
be
be
open
open for a
until
specific
I
time.
think at 10.
Is it 10?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's either 10 or 11. So you could be there, but you know you have to walk there, and if in the way you can't park on Hampton between Green Bay and Port. So the only
Mhm.
place you could do is park in there, and if you park by the golf course, you have to walk all the way back just to go to the play area. So maybe that is a good question to ask.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I appreciate it and thank you so much.
No
Thank
Yeah.
you,
problem.
Have a
sir.
great weekend, sir.
Um, let's go back to the elections real quick. We're just gonna do the alderman seats. There were a couple. Congratulations to Spencer Coggs, first of all, for he was contested, but he is a city treasurer again. Then we have Andrea Pratt, Mark Chambers. Let's see who else we have. Uh, Miss Taylor over in District 9, Jose Perez in District 12, Scott Spiker in 13, Marina Dimitrievich in District 14, Russell Stampert in 15, who all were unopposed. So congratulations. And um, congratulations, they must be doing a good job. We have in District 4, Bob Bauman pulled it off against Rayhenio Boyne. Ray Nitty, he took 67% of the vote. Uh, Mr. Westmoreland, 78.68% of the vote. So that's District 5's alderman. District 6, Malele Coggs came through and she had 74.9% of the vote. This was a open seat in District 7 with the the alderman that used to be there, uh,
Was it Cleve?
Khalif
Cleve Rainey?
Rainey. He did not run again, and now the newly elected
Was it DeAndre?
uh, DeAndre Jackson.
Yeah. I thought that was a good friend from high school. That's her uncle. That's the youngest uncle. It's crazy the connections in Milwaukee. And then
Dude, when it comes to
man.
you, Brian, there is a connection with you can walk down the street with Brian. I have walked down the street with Brian just to go somewhere to go, and there's about 15 people. Hey, Brian, how you doing?
Most females.
Oh my
Well, we
god.
ain't talking about that. That's a different story. Going back to
both
the
sides.
elections, uh, in District 8, Jocasta
Mhm.
Zambaripa, congratulations, you won 63% of the vote.
She's
Uh,
a good. I agree.
and then Charlene Moore, that was an open seat, also vacated by Michael Murphy, and she won by 72% of the vote. Then there was a open seat for District 11. I think Mr. Brokowski used to be the alderman in that seat, and now they have Peter Burgess.
All right.
He came on the show, so
Yeah, that
I
was
wonder. I want to see did some of this help them by coming on to the
yeah,
shows
that
here
was
at
one of the
WNOV?
interviews that we got to do when you was on a special assignment.
Yeah,
I
Brian
know.
liked him. He let him talk a long time.
Look, I was doing my part, but he pulled up. I was trying to figure out who was out there with the H3 Hummer, the new Hummer outside. I'm like, hold up, we have this a Hummer sitting, $100,000 Hummer sitting on the corner of 20th and Capitol. That's brand new. So, yeah, shout out to Mr. Peter Burgerless. If I said his name, if I said it wrong again, but shout out to you for that and that Hummer.
So those are the elections
Really?
for the Milwaukee County.
Truck's
I
nice.
need some help from our listeners. As you know, I'm an alderwoman in the city of Glendale, and I'm also on the police commission. Um, our our wonderful chief is retiring after 30 plus years in service for the city of Glendale. So he is retiring, and we have to go through a search for a new chief. And the question that we have to, as we're doing the job description and getting this all together, the question came, what what do I want to see in a chief? And I said, I'm going to ask the radio listeners, what do they want to see in a chief? If you had to say, what did you want to see in a chief, a police chief?
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? I mean,
I got a
some
couple
people
things.
say that they want to see that he or she, and I
Mhm.
have to stop saying he because, but it's he or she
Mhm.
have law enforcement experience or
Mhm.
they've done this or done that. But what are some of those like non-academic things that you would like to see in the chief?
Can I say something?
Go,
Mhm.
you know what?
First of all,
This is a free flowing conversation.
first of all, I specifically would love to see a lady chief, a woman chief.
We had one, Nan.
In y'all city?
No, Milwaukee. Nan Haggard. Was
Yeah.
it Nan
What
Haggerty?
was that, like 15 years ago? Was that
Nan
more?
was here though.
Yeah, I remember.
We had a
I would like to see another one. I feel like when you look at that list, if it was her and who else. But I do. And I also want to see a police chief that can relate to his entire community. So know the different neighborhoods and districts and know the value and the nuisance in those neighborhoods so that you are more familiar, not just your policeman. So somebody that's very connected and willing to be connected to the community.
So this is and that is a important thing. One of the things that I was looking at is, so this is Glendale, yes. But I one of the things that I want to see in a chief that can relate to all walks of life. You are there to protect and serve Glendale, obviously, but Glendale also has 13,000 residents, but over a half a million people come in and out of there every day between the malls or working. There's a organization, Johnson Control, the people that are in the mall, Manpower, all those places are in Glendale, so they have to come in and out. One of my things I think is being able to be relatable to all walks of life.
That's what I was gonna say. Somebody with a, uh, diverse, connection to just adding on to piggyback to what y'all saying to the community and all that. Like you said, being able to talk to everybody, not just the people that grew up around the areas, and bringing somebody that's
Or
from
they're
the
familiar
yeah,
with.
you got to be
Right.
kind of familiar with Wisconsin or southeastern Wisconsin too. You should be able to have those connections with politicians and community leaders, and that should be a focal point as well. Like who are the people that's also trying to work on the change, that's doing the groundwork, and then building up and of course having those connections with people who can actually make things happen at city halls and at different forums and spaces in
So you
political work.
you're thinking that the local aspect, whether they might not be in Glendale, but because there was one of these. Oh, let's take this call and then I'll go into that. Caller, go ahead. Uh, they one of the aspects we were trying to figure out was, and this is all in a public viewing, but we were like, do we go internal, do
Mhm.
we go outside, do we do both? This is some of the things that like like our police commission goes through. Our caller's back. Caller, go ahead.
Hello, caller.
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say someone that's a little more proactive and not reactive.
Pardon me.
Someone that's a little more proactive and not preactive. I mean,
Oh,
reactive.
Yeah.
That
yeah,
comes out before and not after. Get
Oh,
it? Get
yeah, that sounds good.
like one of those I think like community policing type of people who are out in the community, people know. I think a little bit the chief of Milwaukee does get out there a little bit more than previous chiefs.
Mhm.
And people do recognize him when they see, and that's what I want to see in my chief over there. But this is all connected. All of, just because it's a chief in Glendale, it's gonna have to work with Milwaukee and
Mhm.
Brown Deer and
Mhm.
Waukesha
That's what I
and
was
all
thinking.
these
Mm-hmm.
other things.
That's exactly what I was
People,
thinking.
this chief has to be able to like function as a arm of law enforcement. Yes, he is in charge, he or she. Please, I got to stop that because you never know. But they have to be in charge of Glendale, but they also have to be able to connect with other communities.
Mhm.
One of the things that I was talking to a officer a couple days ago, not in Glendale, but another officer in another community, and they were like, "It's so sad that the communication between Milwaukee and the suburbs is not as great as it could be. And if they really got together as a collective, it would be a great thing."
You know when that connection is real good though? When they sending over them radio chats, it's leaving Glendale, headed over to Greenfield, or on the police
On the
chase,
scanner?
on the scanners. They communicating well in them
Yeah.
scanners, but I don't know about the relations outside of that.
And I used to, I haven't done it in a while, and I have to do it, but I used to do ride-alongs with the police department. And for some reason, every single time I did a ride-along, there was some high-speed chase.
Oh
And
wow.
I would
Yeah,
get
that
all ready
concerns
for it.
me though.
No, but it was for a rider, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let's go. And
Yeah.
every time the chief was like,
You can't go.
it would start and they would be going, and then somewhere somehow either one of the captains, lieutenant, or the chief would get on the radio. Is the package still in the car? And they'll be like, yes, and abort. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh.
so they sending all the other cars, but you.
Yeah, or I'd say, just drop me. At one time we were on it, I had to, I think I had to stop at my house for something, related. And we were just driving around. I get back in the car, I buckle up, and he was like, here we go. Puts on the lights, and he starts going. And it was a stolen car coming south from Good Hope Road. So he went to put the stop sticks on the highway getting on Hampton. And the person, the stolen car, got off on Silver Spring, so we already on Hampton. So we get back on and we try to go back, and they aborted the chase for me. I'm like, huh. But the thing is, when I do those things, I really realize some of the efforts that police officers do have and they've done. I've gone on where we have stopped people, and I have talked to my the chief that's retiring, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can't see who's in the car. And they always, how the officers will say, I can't see who in the car, I'm not profiling. And I said, okay, I can't see who in the car, but what I can see is the make of the car. and some of these cars are hoopties or they are older cars. 9 times out of 10, you're profiling the car.
The burbs are so big. I mean, Wisconsin, Milwaukee suburbs are so big. The profiling of vehicles. I've had some interesting pullovers in my life. It's been
I
crazy. And
know
a lot
that
of black males
profile.
in Milwaukee can talk about this. But I just remember one night we was riding up to, this is when Krispy Kremes had just opened up. Remember, it was a big deal in Milwaukee when that one in Brookfield opened up. Everybody was running out there to go get Krispy Kremes, and me, my two cousins, and a friend of mine were going to Brookfield. We got pulled over in my aunt's car because I had her car that day, and we all had on hats. We was in a Nissan Max with no tents, had on hats. The funny part of this story, or the messed up part at the same time, is we all got pulled out the car. It was a busy September Saturday by Brookfield Mall or Brookfield Square. My auntie at the time was doing her tea thing, and she had a bag of Altoids, a Ziploc bag of Altoids at that in her car, and she had a bag of powdered sugar in the car, y'all. This is true story. My cousins, they know this. And I'll tell people this story, and it was crazy because they was putting. I think they was so mad that they thought they had a big bus. They destroyed Brookfield destroyed my auntie's car. They obviously didn't put nothing together, and then we had one little situation within that. But yeah, profiling is huge when it comes to vehicles and
Yeah.
Well, one of
And I'll say this, just here in Milwaukee off of Glendale, off 107th. Now, I'm not Glendale, God forgive me, 107th and Good Hope. It's the TGI Fridays out there and all that, but y'all know across the street where it's all them big old trees where it look
oh
like
yeah,
it's a forest. No, it's rich people in there. And me being the organizer, I had turf in there and literally went in there, rung maybe 3 or 4 houses doorbells there. Nobody came to the door, so I'm leaving now. I'm on Good Hope. My left signal is on. I'm finna turn. I mean, I'm on 107th, and I'm finna turn onto Good Hope. Left signal. Officer pulled me over and asked me what was I doing in that neighborhood. Like, oh, I didn't know y'all could be.
was that
He
Milwaukee
pulled
then,
over
right?
the wrong person because when he got done, he was red. I said, oh, I didn't know y'all could be security. What's your name? I said,
Oh,
shoot.
that was a Milwaukee
What's
um,
police
your
officer
name?
too.
Call your supervisor. You secure in that neighborhood, huh? Oh no, I just we were just seeing people are oh, this was his excuse. He said we were just checking because people have been burglarizing over there. I said people burglarized the whole Milwaukee. Ain't no street I turned down. I got stopped and asked me what am I doing in that neighborhood. Call your supervisor.
so to bring that subject up, when Chief Mark Ferguson got in, um, we used to butt heads,
Mm-hmm.
because I would ask him questions about why are there so many stops of black and brown people? Why is it I only see black and brown people on the curbs? Um, and over the course of since 18, we've been talking, and I have to say, he has at least tried to rectify that. We started pulling data, and we split out those times where they like, hey, what are you doing, or who are you with, and then all of a sudden they might catch somebody who has a warrant, or they whatever. But I said, but why are you stopping? Well, they don't we just wonder, we just asking. He tried to say at first, well, we're just asking them what they're doing. I said, what is the purpose of you asking them? They're just walking down the street, they're not causing anything. I said, that is what the problem is. They can go down, anybody can walk down any street unless it's private property. I don't care who you are, you can go down any street.
Right.
But it was a bunch of my daughter's friends, and they're African American males, but they all lived in Glendale,
Mm-hmm.
but they were getting stopped left and right because they were walking down the street. But they live there, they have a right to be there, everybody has a right to be there.
Right.
But and so what he did was we started pulling the data and making sure why and what we were doing. And now there's a reason for it. If somebody is stopped, they actually, were trying to identify a caller called, you know or was it just random? I mean, one time I think somebody was walking through the parking lot of a dealership, and they walked through, and they were stopped. And I said, but they could have been just taken a crosswalk. He's like, but there's been car thefts. I was like, go on the side of caution and and protecting people's rights. Everybody is just sometimes people are just walking. And I know that there's a
Yeah. Humans are
he
curious people. Sometimes they see stuff and they just want to, ooh, some nice cars. Let me just walk through and just see what they look like. I've done it. I walked through
Actually, it's just
plenty car lots.
profiling. Because I'm sure if it was a white man, you wouldn't have stopped him. He would have been just walking.
now the funny thing is I had them we were trying to break down race, and there were quite a few white people that were stopped in this, this section that we looked at. So
Mhm.
I, you know, I said, okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of benefit, but I said, why you stopping them, Noah? So you can show that you're not doing as. I mean, I used to
Yeah.
joke with him, but the thing is, Chief
Even out the
Mark
stats.
Ferguson,
And that's
and
probably
yeah, well, no, but Chief, I have to say, Chief Mark Ferguson really tried to change the culture. We do have a pretty diverse
it.
police force. We don't have any black females, but we have Latino females, Latino males.
Round Deer got black cops before y'all?
No, we have males. I said no black females.
Oh, I mean, yeah, black female officers.
Yeah, we don't have any.
Round Deer do.
I so okay. Go ahead, Wanda Montgomery over
Milwaukee do.
there.
Right, she over there doing her thing.
I'm working on. We work
Go
on
ahead.
it.
But I
Get it
hear
together,
you,
Tamika.
I feel the same. I
But
hear you.
but what
People
I'm saying is,
Mhm.
they don't apply. I've been on
Yeah.
the police commission for 5 years. I haven't seen any. I mean, that
Mhm.
come through. But what I'm gathering is, let us know what you want to see in a chief to help me out, because if you help me out, it might be a help to your community. It might be a help to
I
we
think you
just
answered. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think you answered something too with one of your own their question. Like when you said you wanted somebody that you can work with, you can bring an issue to, and they actually will talk with you with it versus kind of whatever. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing. He could have did that, but he actually worked on it.
I
That's
called
another.
my chief Chiefy. I call, and somebody else tried to call him Chiefy. He looked at him crazy, but I do have to give props to Mark Ferguson. He has spent his whole career in Glendale. He is a law enforcement guy,
Mhm.
but I remember the protesters when back in 20 when the protesters came through. I called him up because I said, the protesters are coming through. And he's like, well, Tamika, we're not going to let any destruction happen in Glendale. What do you suggest I do? And I said, and I remember saying, I said, block off Bayshore and let them go through. And that's what he did. At first they stopped him, and
Mhm.
then they said, they just asked, could you stay on this side of the street so nobody gets hurt? And then they kind of started blocking the street so they could go through. But what that did was allowed, I think the next city is Fox Point. When they went through Fox Point police officers did the same thing, didn't try to stop them or run them out, but they just blocked the street so nobody, and that, I think if we were negative in that reaction, that would have been a negative to everybody else to do the
What a
same thing.
domino
Yeah.
It
effect.
would have been a domino effect.
Mhm.
Um,
Then here comes
and
all the expensive military equipment the cops have.
Mhm.
Right. So
That they anxious to you.
Oh, shout out to that Seattle police chief in 1990s for creating that whole wave across the country.
well, we are, what, we're going to go back to our our scheduled
Scheduled
program with
program.
our partners next week, and then some policy work that Joe's working on. Shouts out to Joe. We kind of miss
Ooh,
him.
what
He's
up,
been here
Joe?
for a minute, so we'll have him back. And then our special guest, Tim Schindler, the co-executive director of Development and Fundraising. He will be here on the 9th. Um, and then so we'll go back to, but we wanted to have a couple of candid conversations about just community, because everything we do, every issue that comes in here is always about community engagement. And that is, every show will be about community engagement, whether it be telling you what's going on in the community, giving you information about the community. There was something that I heard from somewhere, and I can't remember who it was. It was one of the candidates talking about their professor, and the two words that you couldn't say, community or resources, without defining it. What community are you talking about? What resources are you talking about? Are you talking about money? Are you talking about manpower? Are you talking about voting? Whatever it is. So I'm going to try to use that when I say community. Right now I'm talking about the Milwaukee County community and what we can do as a collective. When I talk about resources, like, I am going to be specific. Wisconsin Voices do need that building. So if anybody want to donate that building to us, we'll be more than appreciative, and we will make it work for the community, which is everybody that's in Milwaukee County if they want to come. This is we had a good run with the candidates. It's going to start back up again when the
primaries
fall
for the
for the
primary
fall
election.
candidates come out. This is Tamika Vukovic. Who else do we have?
Brian Sanders
and Latoya Wingowski.
Oh, it's Winkowski. This is Be a Voice with Wisconsin Voices.
Voices.
We will see you on Monday.
Yeah, have a great weekend.
Great weekend.